Why are you interrupting my World Series watching tonight?
Okay, so hey, at least you're watching the World Series, giving some sports some viewership. But we've got a quarterly quick take special edition. Google has been officially sued by the Department of Justice. It's the first salvos coming from Washington, D.C., shot across the country and straight into Silicon Valley and blowing up all across the legal departments of big tech. So, did you even read about this, or do I have to explain it all to you?
All of a headline. I'll say I did the Wall Street Journal version of this.
So big headline reader, and then you're just going to walk off and say, "I'm informed."
I'm a trash millennial. I mean, that's who we're trying to appeal to, right? I mean, just embodying our viewership.
Hey, good way to take shots at everybody that could be potentially listening to this. Um,
They know they are.
All right, I'll give you the TLDR version. So Google's being sued by the Department of Justice for illegally keeping its status as the number one internet gatekeeper and mega giant search engine platform that dominates our daily, hourly, and every minute by minute lives whenever we have a dumb question and go and type it in.
No,
Uh,
no, I'm a big Bing guy, man.
your big Bing guy, engineers, typical engineers.
Uh, Maybe
But
Ash Jeeves.
Ask Jeeves, hey, RIP and peace to Ask Jeeves,
R.I.P.
man. That Butler was the real one.
All
But
right, all right. I'll stop interrupting you. Keep going, man.
so it's not going to be it's less clear cut that it being such a dominant search engine is what's gotten it into legal trouble officially. It's not illegal to be a monopoly in the US. It's illegal when you use your monopoly powers to then harm competition or consumers. And that's what the DOJ is alleging here, is that they have several exclusionary agreements that hobbles their competition, other potential search engines like Bing, your favorite, Ask Jeeves when it was still alive, or a DuckDuckGo is a more recent example. But they do have a very notable exclusionary agreement with Apple, which accounts for billions in profit for Alphabet, which is the parent company of Google, every year, to pre-install Google as the default search engine for all Safari web browsers for iPhones and other devices. So, you on board? You on board with me?
I'm on board. I just have one quick question. So what's the big deal? Like Google is the top dog here. They are the best. Why is it such a big deal that they're pre-installed on iPhones?
Well, the big deal is that monopolies tend to be less innovative because there's less competition, and it is anti-competitive, and that's what's illegal when they're using that monopoly power to keep competitors out, kill them, acquire them. And there's actually a historical precedent with that. Near about 20 years ago, small little software outfit called Microsoft out of Washington, got in trouble with the Department of Justice as well for nearly the exact same thing. They were pre-installing Internet Explorer, which was their software, their web browser on their software that that was ruled illegal and anti-competitive because they were keeping out several other different types of web browsers and bullying other PC makers that when they were installing Microsoft software, Windows, small little software stack that only runs almost the entire world other than iOS, that they had to put Internet Explorer in there with it, and that was harmful towards all the competitors like Netscape to Internet Explorer. So there is historical precedent. Microsoft did lose that case, and it'll take a while for Google to figure this stuff out with the DOJ. They could either pay a fine, they could be they could be forced to split up, which would mean spinning off some business units, or they could there's a lot of different ways this can go. It's likely not going to resolve itself anytime soon. But I got a quick question for you that I already know the answer to, as usual. What percent of search in the United States do you think that Google controls and is run through Google?
Oh, God, I want to say like 99%, but I'm gonna keep conservative and say right at like 87%.
So you would lose on Price is Right rules. It is in fact about 80%, which is still a huge
Oh,
number
it's huge.
That's a huge number. Mobile.
I couldn't name one person that doesn't that uses something besides Google though. So
Yeah, your Bing boys actually do have about just over 8% of search traffic. So somebody's still using it. I don't know who. They must be, living under, literally under a rock or in a cabin that
yeah,
has one internet router out there.
all the people in our parents' demographic, honestly.
Yeah, that's true. But you would be closer on your guess to mobile search. Google has a higher share than 80 on that.
Okay.
But that's part of what their defense is going to be. So Google's product is free. So how could they be harming consumers? Is what they're going to argue. And another big point that I think it actually lead into yet another lawsuit for another big tech company is that they are going to allege that roughly half of online shopping searches actually begin on Bezos World Amazon. So that's it. That's what
Okay.
they're saying is like, oh, well, we just have search for everything else. That's the other half of the shopping searches. And, thinking of, am I sick, and going on WebMD to find out that no, you just stubbed your toe in the middle of the night. You don't actually have like a colon disease or something.
Yeah.
Or is this actress still alive? Things like that.
There you
So
go.
Google's going
Or
to,
what would
that's
they?
the card that Google has already stated that they're going to be playing. Um, but what do you think about just how this could potentially lead to a follow-on suit against Amazon?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, honestly. I know that DOJ has been attacking Amazon some, but not to this level, at least not
Yeah,
to my
no,
knowledge.
no official lawsuit filed against any other big tech companies so far.
Nothing's been filed. Okay. No, I think it's definitely a possibility, or maybe Google is trying to, get either Amazon on their side or throw them under the bus to, take
I
on this.
I would imagine likely the latter. They're going to probably throw them under the bus and back that bus back over them in the efforts to try to escape and get out of it as least unscathed as possible.
Well, how do they go? And what if both of them get sued and lose the suit? I mean, what does that really accomplish?
So, well, it depends on what the penalty is. I'm more in favor of that their most valuable business units are spun out, whether they do it, proactively and do it themselves and then pay a fine, or they're forced to do it via, either regulation through Congress or through the DOJ, through antitrust. Somebody just went yard. I don't know who it is on the Dodgers. Will Smith. Okay.
That 13-year-old.
The 13-year-old. Okay. Sorry. What was I even saying?
Oh, talking about with either Congress or the DOJ,
Okay.
coming at
Okay. We'll
them.
do it.
Solely.
5-second break.
That's fine.
But we'll have to see what the actual outcome is before you see what could happen. Either to Amazon. Amazon's got different issues that DOJ is likely going to take aim at, compared to what Google is. Google's also we've only scratched the tip of the iceberg. If you really want to ram the Titanic through and find some potential antitrust issues, it actually is on the back end with their ad display software and their ad display
Right.
manager and bidding practices, because they control both sides of the house of that. So they get to set the prices and they get to decide where the ads are displayed, and how much you pay as an advertiser. So,
Jesus.
and we haven't even
So
got all that, and we haven't even gotten into data collection and sharing.
yeah,
There's a lot that can be levied against big tech. And the original reports were that Google Chrome might be forced to be spun out of Google. That was what the DOJ was taking
really.
aim at. But then search ended up being the primary driver and focus of this lawsuit. So there's nothing to say they can't bring further lawsuits from the federal level. There are several states that are, including our own Texas, that are prepping lawsuits against Google as well. So this is not just going to be ending because at the Department of Justice level. Google's legal department is going to be racking up a lot of billable hours here in the future.
Absolutely. Wish I had a little taste of that. I mean, how long do you think this could potentially go on, or is there
Ooh,
any end in sight right now?
Um, yeah, I think a lot of it's going to obviously depend on November 3rd and what who is running the executive branch of the federal government. There is bipartisan support though
Obviously,
for
you,
going
you say
after
that
it.
I see a lot of the headlines say a nonpartisan fight is what I keep seeing flash in front of my eyes.
Yes,
So with that,
it is a bipartisan effort to regulate and potentially break up big tech. There are no agreements on how to do that just yet in a bipartisan way, but so we'll have to hear that going in the future. But that's also from a legislative angle. From the legal angle, they could fine antitrust infractions and take their own action. They don't need necessarily congressional action to go and make changes to the companies because they're U.S. based companies.
oh, wow.
But in terms of
So
your original question, I mean, I would imagine we're going to be hearing this will not be the last segment we do on Google and the DOJ. Um, it'll be going throughout 2021 and potentially into 2022, which is hard to imagine right now considering where we are in just 2020.
gosh, yeah. That's crazy to even think a year from now or potentially 2 years. So let's go to our little crystal ball here. What do you think comes out of this? Do you think they are successful in the lawsuit, or do you think Google ends out on top, or do you think kind of some between where they settle on something?
Yeah, I think two factors are crucial to what happens here. I think the first factor is how many resources are put into this lawsuit from the DOJ perspective. How many lawyers, how much money is funneled and contributed to this lawsuit to fight this fight. I think the second factor is what judge ends up hearing this argument, and what their background is on antitrust. I think that you could easily land in front of a very pro-business judge, and they're going to say, well, Google's not having any discernible harm on their consumers. They're offering a free product. Why are we here? I think that's possible. I imagine this gets, no matter the result, this is going to go to uh, the Circuit Court of Appeals. I would imagine. So I really don't know. I would love to throw a wild guess out there, but I honestly don't know what's going to end up happening. If they could just pay a fine, and that's the last we hear of it,
Right.
and we move on. That's what they've been doing in Europe for years. So with the EU antitrust division,
Right.
or anti-competitive division.
Sounds like they're throwing a lot of stuff at this thing and seeing what sticks. And if I had to take a guess, honestly, it would be probably the ads,
Yes
and
and no. So I would
and maybe the
say,
data, the selling the data. I mean, just that's a hot topic, right now with everybody. If
yeah, and
anything, I just don't think I don't see the search engine being the thing that sticks, in my opinion. But
well,
I don't know. No.
it could be just based on those contracts and agreements they have, and to keep
Right.
other search engines from having a legitimate chance at user adoption and survival.
I guess maybe I'm tech savvy enough to know that if you want to use another circuit, then you just got to implement it yourself and do it. But yeah, I guess the general public and how hard it is to actually do that and what they're doing to stifle them is something I'm just not aware of because I'm going to use Google.
Yeah, I mean, we use Google to prep for this entire segment, so I think that shows that
You
shows.
use Google to Google antitrust.
Yeah,
Say Google
exactly.
what 5 times fast.
Google,
Yeah,
Google, Google. Oh God.
Google.
But yeah, so we'll see what happens. I would say though, it's not actually kind of a throw everything against the wall and see what sticks, because we'd see a wide ranging lawsuit otherwise, and they just try to win in specific segments. This is a very focused argument, and that's why I think they're going for the alleged exclusionary agreements with people like with companies like Apple and the pre-installs on Safari. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, I guess this was actually worth interrupting my World Series watching. I appreciate
Yep.
the knowledge drop.
Always, always.